Today, we're going to talk about the game-changing reveal at the end of the first season of Hazbin Hotel, which, if you have not clicked away because of obvious spoilers incoming at this point, you know to be that Pentious did not just die at the hands of Adam, but ended up re-manifesting in heaven. My name is Deepcut, subscribe, or one of the characters in the background dies. I'll do it, don't test me. Now, Charlie is the princess of Hell, and despite how gruesome the sinners can be, she wants them to have happy and healthy immortal lives without the fear of an annual extermination. Since they are immortal, the only way to kill a sinner is with an angelic weapon. These are blades made of angelic steel, which have the power to kill a variety of souls who are elsewise immortal and just very powerful. While Adam acts shocked that angelic weapons can be used against the angels in the Hazbin finale, in episode 6, Lute seemed to have no issue using an angelic weapon on Vaggie, which, in addition to dealing a permanent death to a sinner, can also do permanent injury. Normally, when a sinner is injured by something that is not angelic, they will just regenerate, which is said to be slow and painful, but a process that happens as long as an angelic weapon isn't used against them. Instead of regenerating her eye, Vaggie received an X there because of the angelic blade. Now, one thing a lot of fans have wondered is what exactly happens to a sinner or soul in general now if they are damaged beyond means of regeneration. For instance, what if Cherry Bomb had created an explosive that incinerated a sinner, or what about the many sinners who seem to be eaten in the cannibal colony? Well, aside from their flesh possibly just regrowing around their bones, which would not be eaten, it was confirmed through a Q&A on VivziePop's Patreon that sinners who are destroyed beyond repair instead re-manifest entirely. This would be similar to how a soul first manifests in Hell after dying on Earth, so nothing new in terms of lore really, though it was claimed that this would be a very painful process just like healing through regeneration. The finale, of course, answered this question, but in a more dramatic way, through the character of Pentious. Now, Adam used a giant magical beam to kill Pentious, and though even the Hazbin Hotel crew seemed to think this was somehow permanent, it wasn't a death by an angelic blade. Some fans have speculated that Adam just naturally has the power to kill sinners, but if he did, then he didn't need the army or any angelic weapons with him. He could simply annihilate sinners en masse with his giant beam. Adam is undoubtedly very powerful, but I just don't see any reason to believe that his powers naturally kill other souls. When faced with a threat bigger than the Exorcist, such as Pentious' warship, Adam is able to bust that out and cause mass destruction to the machinery and even to Pentious. But Adam himself likely knows that Pentious or anyone else he kills with this beam is just going to reform again later, albeit no one expected Pentious to reform in heaven in particular. Now, the key reason Pentious is believed to have re-manifested in heaven is because he died doing something noble, perhaps atoning for his sins on Earth and even others in Hell. There are alternate theories as to how this might have happened, but for now it makes sense to operate under the assumption that Pentious did somehow redeem himself. This would mean that Hell was never truly Hell, but rather Purgatory, and unlike Hell, which Adam claims is forever, Purgatory is a place you are only meant to stay until you have worked through what you have done on Earth so that you can ascend to heaven. It was a hypothetical middle dimension believed to exist between what we think of as heaven and hell, for souls who were not righteous enough for heaven, but that people didn't want to think of as suffering eternally in hell either. In the world of Hazbin Hotel, however, the place we call hell essentially is Purgatory. The large majority of souls from Earth end up in Hell, and it's implied to not really be fair. With the earliest drafts of Hazbin Hotel, back when it was a story within the Zootopia comic book, shows Vaggie complaining that despite the fact that she wasn't a great person, people who were much worse than her didn't end up with the same punishment in Hell. The large majority of people are supposed to go to Hell, it seems, because they are supposed to work through their issues in a world that is even more harsh than Earth, a place where you can more clearly see how your issues ultimately enslave you. Here, they would be put to the test, but with an infinite amount of time, with endless opportunity to improve themselves in order to survive the harsh life of Hell. Inevitably, these people were meant to experience a physical death there and re-manifest in heaven, but for some reason, that never seems to have happened before. And if any number of sinners had managed to re-manifest in heaven after experiencing some sort of death in Hell, I think it would be big news. As unlikely as it may seem, that would make Pentious the first person to truly redeem themselves and get into heaven. It could be that no person has experienced a physical death so close to having changed their moral alignment, but characters like Camilla highlight how every level in Hell has people who are just doing their best to protect the ones they love. And it's surprising more of them wouldn't be considered redeemed before experiencing some sort of death. I have more videos coming out later this week that will explore the possible different natures of how Pentious ended up in heaven, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume the immediate logic that heaven would, which is that Pentious legitimately did just get redeemed and thus remanifested as an angel, and that this simply had never been done before. The show will likely reveal that there are more twists to how this really happened, but heaven would think this is what happened and would act accordingly. First and foremost, I think this would lead to Charlie's Hotel being granted actual permission to run in Season 2. This would have proven Charlie's concepts to them, and out of simply not being a hypocrite, Sarah would have to at least give Charlie permission to keep operating her hotel in order to placate Emily. Emily was already very upset with Sarah about the annual extermination, and Sarah's only excuse for not granting the hotel their blessing to just keep trying was because Charlie had no proof anything would change. However, this would undoubtedly lead to outrage in heaven as well, especially once it became known that Adam was killed during the annual extermination, that the rest of heaven was really only just learning about in the last month or so. Pentious will likely be the most unwelcome character in all of heaven, and this would lead to a lot of funny bits, I think, where he's trying to make a home in heaven, but no one wants anything to do with him, other than, of course, Emily, who would try to help him as much as possible. For Pentious in particular, I think he would actually want to go back to hell, and it's not like he'd even have to remanifest there or anything. Like Vaggie, he could simply be taken there and live at the hotel with the people he cares about, still being an angel, just living in hell again. And of course, none of this can actually be good. Lute in particular is going to have it out for Pentious and be trying to sabotage him as long as he is there. And that entire time, Sarah will have to be freaking out too. She made it clear there is something more sinister going on that I just can't wait for the show to unravel. Originally, it was implied that all souls would naturally go to heaven. We learned this in the first episode of the show, where Lucifer is said to be thrown into his creation, indicating Lucifer created hell. This is tied not just to giving the fruit of knowledge to Adam's second wife, Eve, but also to evil making its way into the world because of this. Sarah likely believes that by letting souls from hell into heaven, she is risking the possibility that the evil of hell that has leaked onto the earth could leak into her pure world as well. This would not just be bad for heaven as a whole, but for whoever Sarah is really answering to or trying to keep at bay. We have seen an active campaign in Helluva Boss by other royals to corrupt the earth in evil ways that I don't imagine Lucifer is very happy about, and those very forces making it into heaven, even if through a seemingly redeemed sinner, is probably a big part of what Sarah fears. In the opening, Charlie's animation even alludes to the force of evil being contrasted with the force of good, with the angels being an important part of protecting existence from that evil. But what do you think? And do you think anyone cares? Let me know your self-perception in the comments down below, and if you aren't too insulted by my sad attempt to have a different joke in every video before I ask you to subscribe, consider subscribing here. And on our other channel, Random Universe, we just put out a silly animation of Sonic vs. Mario. If you like the original Sonic animated movie, you'll probably enjoy it. See you guys there.